The moment the dead woman's sleeve was tugged, she was horrified to realize her husband could see her as a ghost. It turned out the princess had killed his wife to take the man for herself, and demanded he become her prince. But the man didn't grieve his wife's death. Instead, he agreed to become her prince. Unbeknownst to him, after her death, the woman's soul left her body. She saw her husband's cowardly behavior, and immediately began to curse him as a heartless man. The princess suggested throwing the woman's body into a mass grave, but the man insisted on burying his wife himself. The princess agreed. Though no one knew the man's true identity, not only was he an undefeated general, he was also the last magician in the world. The moment his wife was killed, he not only wanted to revive her, but also sought to make the cruel princess pay for her actions. While burying his wife, tools were available, yet he chose to dig with his hands. The woman muttered he was pretending to be sentimental, calling him a fool for not using the tools, but seeing him carefully tending to her body, she forgave him. What she didn't know was that her muttering was clearly heard by her husband. He calmly asked how she was killed. This scared the woman. She thought her husband could see her ghost, but just then, the princess's urging diverted his gaze. That reassured the woman. After all, she was dead. How could a living person see her as a ghost? However, she still muttered the answer to his question. She resentfully explained the princess slapped her several times, then beheaded her in the street. The more she spoke, the angrier she got, thinking her husband couldn't hear her. What she didn't realize was that her husband could hear her, and even see her as a ghost. Next, the man planned to use a secret ritual to revive his wife and punish the princess. He first took a lock of her hair and placed it carefully in his chest. Then, he took a jade pendant, muttered an incantation, and formed a seal. The pendant split into two halves. He kept one half, and placed the other on his wife's body. He then buried her without a tombstone. The woman's ghost kept urging him to become the prince and embrace wealth. She also needed to reincarnate. But little did she know, the man turned the pendant quietly, and her soul was instantly pulled back to him. Confused, she turned to leave, but was pulled back again by the pendant. She had no idea what was happening. Unbeknownst to her, it was all part of her husband's secret magic. As they returned, the shameless princess threw herself at the man. The woman could only angrily curse her. When they reached the house, her parents banged on the door demanding her life back. The old couple knelt at the door to avenge their daughter's death, but the princess called for guards to execute them. The man stopped her. The princess became displeased. She questioned why he buried his wife and stopped her from killing the parents. Was he reluctant to part with her? The man remained calm and explained. With their wedding approaching, it wasn't suitable for bloodshed. It would be better to send them away to the countryside. The princess thought for a moment and agreed, but added one more condition. He had to personally humiliate the woman's parents for her to agree. The man knew this was the only way to save them. The couple cursed him for lacking a conscience. The woman recalled the past, when her husband almost died falling off a cliff and she saved him. They became a couple because of her kindness. Soon after, he went to war. Though he returned victorious 3 years later, his love for her didn't waver. Not long after, he was named a general and awarded a mansion. She thought they would live happily forever. But now she was dead, and he was about to become a prince. Her father angrily demanded the man return his daughter's life. The man had never been able to harm his father-in-law, but under the princess's insistence, he reluctantly slapped his father-in-law's face. He called the guards to throw the old couple out of the city, but secretly told his servants to take care of the elders. The woman cried and tried to follow but was pulled back by the pendant. She watched him enter the princess's carriage. She cursed herself for ever saving him. Soon, the convoy arrived at the princess's palace. She eagerly wanted him to sleep with her that night. Hearing this, the man stayed silent. Then he said he would sleep in the guest room and prepare a great gift for the princess. The princess eagerly asked what gift it was, but the man bowed and asked for a lock of her hair. Confused, the princess asked why. The man explained that he had once saved a sorcerer on the battlefield and learned a heart knot from him. He planned to use their hair to weave this knot and ensure their love lasts a century. The woman was shocked. She hadn't expected her husband, a warrior, to be so flattering, making a woman's knot. But the princess was delighted. She cut a lock of her hair and gave it to him. Unbeknownst to her, that lock of hair would lead her to ruin. At night, the man watched her hair, waiting for midnight. The woman, seeing him staring in a daze, began to complain. Was it really necessary for just a few strands of hair? Was he really so desperate to become a prince? But the next second, the man turned and looked directly at her. He then walked toward her. Her heart raced. Could he see her? The next moment, the man stopped right in front of her, his gaze fixed on her, unmoving. Just as she thought he could see her, he passed through her soul. Her hopes shattered. It turned out the man was judging time based on the moon's position. He then took their hair from his chest and wove the heart knot with the princess's and his wife's hair. The woman sighed, admiring the princess's beauty. If only she had such beauty, her husband would have wept while burying her body. The man paused at her words. She continued talking, saying the princess was not only beautiful but also of high status. If she could reincarnate, she would want to be a princess in her next life. Her husband laughed at her words. The woman was surprised, thinking her husband was now happy to have his knot woven. But soon, she started worrying about him. The princess had killed her to take her husband. Would she kill him too if she took another man? Meanwhile, the man finished the heart knot. Looking at him with obsession, his wife became furious and tried to leave. But then she realized he had tugged her sleeve. He stared at her ghostly figure as she stood up slowly. At that moment, her tears began to fall, and the man's words completely broke her.